Worlds are about to collide. Today I'm going to be connecting this vintage Yamaha DX7 to a MODX6 using that Modern Instruments AD input, same one that's on the Montage. And while I'll be using a vintage synth today, you can use this procedure for any instrument or external device. And once it goes through the AD input, you can then take advantage of all of the MODX or Montage's internal effects and master EQ. So without further ado, let's get started with step one. On the back of the DX here, this is a mono instrument. 1984, they didn't think you needed to have stereo, so it's a lot like a guitar. So we got mono out, we plug that in, and we're going to take that other end. On the left side of the MODX6 is your 80 inputs, right next to that power button, and we have the left side right here. Left side is mono. It's right next to the power button, so we're going to insert the cable right there into the mono left. Reach over here and turn the power onto the Yamaha DX7. And now also you have to remember to turn on your AD input, to turn the gain down, but that's really important. A lot of times I will forget that you need to turn that on and there'll be no sound. And then put a little bit of gain and let's see what we're getting. There we go. We're getting a little tone there. We turned on our AD input switch. Very important to remember that. We are now getting sound from the DX7. That's what this flute is. All right, the next thing you're going to want to do is pick an initialized setting. And I like to use the FM since I'm really into FM. And we're going to come over here, hit category search, and see Init, initialize. Just go right to that. And we're going to get simple sine wave. And we got our normal Init, initialize normal FMX sound. And the reason we're going to do that is just to clear out any of the effects that we may have on the other presets. So now when we come in and we look at effect, hey, just wanted to remind you, if you haven't done so already, please jam that subscribe button and get on board with the subscriber list at the Synths and Guitars channel. It's super appreciated. Now let's get back to that lesson. We can now choose what's going on. Now here, as you can see, when you have an initialized setting, the variation effect is no effect. The reverb is RevX Hall, and there's a return here. We're going to turn that down for now. And down here on the master effects, they are off. Master EQ is on. Let's take a look at that. And everything's flat. And so that's why you want to do a general Init setting. That way, here's the DX7, and that is the flute sound on the internal cartridge, number 1 sound. Go into mixing now. That's the next thing you want to look at for the mixing tab, which is on Performance Home, Mixing, Performance Home, right here, Mixing. And you'll see we have our Init right here. Now the Init happens to have a little bit of reverb on it. The dry level's all the way up. So this is our sine wave right here. And over here is your AD input. So you can see our levels are up for the DX7 is up at 127. So you can go ahead and test that out. I'll play the flute. Turn that down. So that's your full 100% volume there. And so that gives us a blank slate to work with. So that's how you want to start this out when you're plugging in something like a vintage DX7 into the MODX, so that they'll start from a solid base, and then we're going to work up from there. All right, the next thing we're going to do is hit Edit and go into Effect. Right up here, we have our routing. First thing we're going to do is turn on the multiband compressor or VCM. Let's do VCM here. So let's make sure that's on. And then we're going to put on a little bit of reverb. And we got the Rev X Hall for now. Reverb I turned to 0. Let's bring that up. The reason we're not hearing any effect is when we go to our edit page or our mixing here. I'll show you. Yeah, see, this is what you want to check too. Here in your mixing tab, here is your AD input right there, that column. And as you can see here, the reverb send is down to 0. We got to increase that. That's going to increase it through the mixing. And there we go. And what we're going to do is turn a little bit of the variation up now. That's on 0 as well, so you're not going to hear anything different. But we're going to go here back to home and then hit Edit. And here's our variation. Now there's no effect at the moment. And what we're going to do is put on some chorus. The G chorus comes up first, and that's really nice. Let's turn off the reverb. When we go here to mixing, we haven't turned this up enough. Now, what I like to do is save that part, store it. So I'm going to hit Store, and we're going to store as a new performance. And then I'm going to put here, I like to remind myself that it's FM. I'm going to put DX7. And for now, it's going to be FMX, okay? Done. And so now when you go back and you're ready to do something like this and plug in whatever synth it was, in this case DX7, you have that ready to go, and add it to your favorites, of course, so that it comes up. But remember to do that. Okay, so we have our nice little flute sound, but it's pretty straightforward and standard. I'm sticking with this voice because it's kind of a pure one. But let's look in here and go into some of these other parts now and effects. So under here, master effects is our compressor. I like to just keep that as compression. And you can go in here and change your variation and reverb. But this page just as well can be used to change these effects. So right here, you tap on the effect, and it gives you everything. So let's do something kind of drastic so we can hear what's happening. So let's do a tempo delay. Nice delay, and you could play with some of the other sounds that way. So for this one, say I think bowed cello internal, that was a nice one. So very nice kind of delay effects there. Let's look at something. I did chorus already. Flanger. You come in here to your, so when you look at the variation now, change all kinds of stuff, depth. Let's go back to routing and still play with this variation. So you get the idea. You come through and let's hear some distortion on it. Getting a lot of hiss, so we would have to take care of that with separate processing. Yeah, there's a lot of... There's some more compression. Let's do an auto wah. There you go, simple little way to put your other synthesizers through the MODX and make use of that AD input. Thanks for watching.